Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Anna and today we are playing with the Naked palette from Urban Decay. The OG, original Naked palette. They have relaunched it, limited edition, and they sent it to me to play with. So that's what we're doing today. We are creating a look and we're going to talk all about it. This is like truly a first impressions with this particular palette because I never got the original. So this is my first time playing with this color story. A palette that was originally launched 15 years ago, I believe. Here we are today with a relaunch of it in a limited edition format with an upgraded formulation. So if you want to see my thoughts, see how I created this look that we have on today, and talk all about it and just have a little bit of a nostalgia, session, thinking back about the days of when this palette had originally launched and that beginning of the golden era of the beauty community, the roots of the beauty community. This palette was the cornerstone of that. And yeah, just talk about a little bit of just general reminiscing is what we're going to do today while we create a look and talk all about this palette. We're going to go through the claims, talk about the quality, the performance, all the things. So yeah, if that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. Before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below on the OG Naked palette of it coming back. Do you think it fits into a modern market? I think it does. I think they made a smart move here. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the makeup. So I've had a lot of experience with Naked palettes. I have Naked 2, Naked 3, Naked Wild West, Naked Honey. I've played with Naked Cherry, Naked Smoky. What am I forgetting? Naked Heat. And I'm no stranger to Urban Decay eyeshadows. I've had 2 Vice palettes, multiple minis from them, other little palettes. I know my Urban Decay pretty well when it comes to their eyeshadows, but for some reason, I never got my hands on the original Naked palette. So when I saw this on my front doorstep, it was such a nice surprise. A, I was having a pretty bad day for one thing, and 2, just to get to have the opportunity to try this palette out was really cool. So yeah, I am excited. So it came in this beautiful box, by the way, lovely box, and then inside it is the original nude palette that broke the internet. Nice little velvet interior. This is like a legit nice box, which I will be keeping. And you do have a certificate of authenticity, which I thought was really cute. Now they have upgraded the formula from the original one. It says this certificate confirms that this palette is a genuine limited edition relaunch of the first ever Naked palette by Urban Decay, often duped, never duplicated. This iconic palette will come back to life for one time only. 15 years since its conception. Included are the original 12 must-have neutral eyeshadow shades, each meticulously crafted with top quality ingredients, expert formulations, and an updated formula. The modern interpretation of the OG Naked palette proves a true icon never goes out of style. So yeah, they have improved upon the quality, which is nice. I think that Urban Decay's eyeshadow quality has always been pretty solid across the board. Like, it's just a reliable formulation, and it has definitely improved over the years, especially with the Naked palettes. I've noticed a significant improvement since like Naked Honey. That palette to me felt superior, and not that the other Naked palettes were bad, but that one really, I feel like they turned a corner on the quality. And yeah, from what I've swatched so far with this one, because I have done a couple little swatches, it has a really nice feel to the formulation. Now I can't compare this to the original one. If you want to see a comparison to the actual original one, Emily Noel has done that. She still has hers. Like I said, never got my hands on the original, so I can't really speak to that. But I do remember swatching it and looking at it many a time in the JCPenney Sephora counter. So here's what she looks like. The original velvet component. Look at that. Ooh, that's gonna get so dirty. And inside you have a dual-sided brush, 12 shades within. And they look a lot prettier in person than what they do on camera. I always notice that, like, on camera, these shades tend to look a little washed out, but when you see them in person, there's actually a lot of nuance and pretty going on here. And yes, this was a very much duped palette. I think e.l.f. duped it. W7, is that brand still even around? I remember them having like one of the more popular dupes at the time. Every drugstore brand tried to dupe the Naked palettes. Like, it was just a thing. Everyone wanted to dupe these palettes. And looking at this palette now, if I saw this as a new launch, wasn't a re-release, I would have been interested in it. These colors are right up my alley. They're what I like these days for eyeshadow. I'm definitely a little bit more into those neutral shades, but I like the bit of smokiness you have in here. Right up my alley there with the cool tones mixed in. You have a nice mixture of neutral, warm, and cool within a really good variety of formulations as well. You have some mattes, you have shimmers, you have metallics. Really very well balanced palette. And you do have the little duo brush here, which these have definitely come a long way in the later editions of these palettes. Okay, so you got a nice little kind of stubby packer brush on this side and a nice little blending brush on this side. We'll use this today. But yeah, this looks quite nice. I remember the original iterations of these were, they're alright, but they have definitely gotten better over time, like to where they're functional, and actually I hang on to them and do use them. They're great for travel. And you do have the little home for it right here. I believe the original Naked palette came with a dual indent eyeliner, in fact. And here is what the palette does come in when you purchase it, and has everything on here. It looks very much how it was on the shelf back in the day. So this is going to retail for $59, and the original Naked palette sold over $1 billion worth, 3 million units. Wow. Okay, so we have 12 of the best neutral shades. Features the unforgettable OG range of highly pigmented nude eyeshadows that seamlessly blend to create every look, from natural no makeup looks to dark brown smoky eyes and some cool tone smoky eyes. All the shades you ever need. Perfect mix of smooth mattes, beautiful shimmers, and glittery metallics. Easily blendable, perfect for beginners to experts, allowing for easy shaping, contouring, and defining of the eyes. Long-lasting formulation. So inside you have 12 shades. Virgin, which is a cool cream satin finish. Sin, champagne shimmer finish. I have actually had Sin in a couple other palettes, I'm pretty sure. Naked, neutral beige matte finish. Sidecar, rose gold metallic finish. Buck, natural medium brown matte finish. Half baked, light gold shimmer finish. That was also in Naked too. Smog, bronze metallic finish. Dark Horse, dark brown shimmer finish. Toasted, rosy taupe shimmer. Hustle, dark taupe satin finish. Creep, black with silver glitter satin. Gunmetal, cool gray metallic finish. This was the palette that made the beauty community back in the day. Like, this palette made careers. Like, thinking about Emily Noel and that girl Shay, Michelle Phan, like Tati, like that era of the beauty community. This palette was the cornerstone. This is what got the views. There are tens of thousands of looks online and tutorials using this palette because it was that first real major palette that sucked everybody in, that everyone wanted. It had the mass appeal that was just like, yeah, oh my goodness, that palette, it's gonna be so fun. And it, for some reason, it was just such a sensation. It was right at the beginning of that beauty YouTube space and the beauty community online, where it came in, took it by storm. Everyone had multiple tutorials posted with this palette. It was a thing, and I still remember very fond memories of that era in the beauty community. It was one of my favorite times because it was the beginning of that golden era of beauty YouTube, the beauty guru, all of that. This is before the drama and all the ugliness happened. This was just such a pure time. It was wonderful, and it was just a pure time. Anyways, they also sent me an eyeshadow primer potion. I haven't used this in a million years either, probably since I had Naked 2, maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time. I know I've had a couple samples since then, but I haven't had a full size and I don't know how long, honestly. Really don't know how long. So this is the primer potion. Let's put some of this on and try her out. And you know, I was just saying to my husband the other day, I need to pick up a new eyeshadow primer because I can't find my NYX one. I don't know what I did with it. I had a NYX one, but it was almost empty. So I was just saying that, hey, I need to pick up a new eyeshadow primer. And we were going to be doing eyes first. So go ahead and put a little bit of this on the lid here and blend her out. This is a very sheer primer. There's no real color to it. Maybe a slight bit. Like, I can see my lid looks a little bit lighter. That's about it. There's no pigmentation really. Very sheer. Okay, so I'm going to take the little dual-ended brush. I'm going to start with the fluffy side. And we're going to go into the shade called Virgin. Just this one right here. And we're going to take that under the brow bone. And kind of just around to even things out. This is a satin finish, which I'm a fan of. I love like a cream satin like this for the brow bone. I think it's very flattering. And Urban Decay does beautiful satin shades. Like this type of formulation, they really do well. And they know how to do a good matte. And of course somebody is mowing. Of course. Right, so let's go into the shade called Naked and run that through the transition. Naked is this one right here. I'm gonna take it on the same brush. Just clean the brush off a little bit. This is a pretty dense brush. It picks up quite a bit of product. Right, and just taking that through the socket here. Perfect no makeup shade right there. All right, clean that off. Now I'm going to go over to a little bit of, let's take Dark Horse. Dark Horse is this one right here. It's our dark bronze color. Dark brown shimmer finish. We're going to use a little bit of that. I'm going to take it on the smaller side of the brush and apply it to the outer corner. And maybe blend it into the crease some. We'll see where we end up here. So I'm going to start it right here. And blend it up and out. Blending very easily. Very easy to work with. I definitely think Urban Decay's eyeshadows have gotten more user-friendly than what they used to be. I remember them when I first got my hands on a Naked palette and a Vice palette. Now, I was super beginner with like that kind of eyeshadow anyway at the time. But I remember them not being the easiest to work with. Like they were very messy and kind of, they definitely took a little practice to work with. And I feel like that's something that's improved over time with the formulation. It's just gotten a little easier to blend and apply where it's not too much. Like it's a nice middle ground. I feel like I used to make such a mess with the eyeshadows, but that could have just been user error and me back then not being real good at what I was doing. That's nice looking. So I'm patting this on and then buffing over and then up and out a little bit. And what we do is I'm gonna take the fluffy side and give that a buff. You also have a really nice mirror within these palettes, in this palette. I like that they went with the original packaging for this too and kept with the original like velvet cover instead of upgrading or changing that in any way. Yeah, I never did get like the kind of remastered new reiteration that they put out of the Naked palette when they discontinued this one. They put out that, what they were calling the new Naked palette, I guess. I never did get it either and try it. I don't know, just at some point there is that thing that happens where it's just kind of palette overload, and that was definitely the case for a little bit where the market was just too saturated. and nothing felt special anymore. This brings me back to that time when palettes felt special. When one came out, it was like a big deal. That's what this brings me back to. And everybody wanted to get it, and it was, you know, it just felt like we're all on the same team at one time there. And it was really cool. It was a really good feeling. And for a while it got where it was like fatigue with eyeshadow palettes, where I think we quit buying them, period. And now it feels like when one comes out and it feels special, it just feels special and it's exciting, and you can be excited about it and not care if it's popular, kind of thing. That's where I'm at now, personally, where I see something comes out that I want and I'm happy about it, and I'm gonna be like, yes, cool, let's celebrate this. I'm gonna celebrate it. Don't care if anybody else is into it. And I'm just gonna enjoy my love of makeup and not worry about or feel overwhelmed or whatever. Now, I'm gonna take the shade called Smog. Smog is described as a bronze metallic finish. Smog is this one right here. No, here. Which is like a kind of a rich bronzy gold. Same brush, or same side, the packer side. We're gonna bring that a little bit over to this part of the eye. Ooh, wow. Huh, I was not expecting that. That's very pretty. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting to be so the richness from it and the gleam. Wow, that's really pretty. I love that. I love that color. But yeah, obviously today we're doing a little bit more of a warmer take, because I mean, I got warm tones a little bit here, and I am going to be doing a look in a video with the cooler tones. Don't you worry, I got you, because we are old school over here, where I do multiple tutorials with a palette. I don't get makeup and then just never mention it again. I'm not that kind of person, because I don't, I guess, buy that much makeup, where when I buy something, girl, we got to get some use out of it. We're going to love on it, and just, I'm going to ram it in your throat. You will get sick of seeing a palette or a makeup item from me eventually, because I do truly use and love what I get my hands on. Whether I've purchased it, get it in PR, whatever, I will thoroughly enjoy and use a product. Just for the pure love of the makeup, for the love of the game over here. Alright, I'm gonna build some of that up on the lid. I really like that color. Alright, now let's go to Half Baked, which is the light golden shade right here. And we're gonna put that on the inner part. Right here. Nice, nice, nice. Man, this palette just really makes me nostalgic for that time. It was a good time. Didn't know how good we had it. Kind of feeling like, I mean, I was 20 probably. Oh, it was some rough times for me personally. But there was a lot of good in there and joy that we found within that misery. It's so strange. It was very, very Southern Gothic childhood, early 20s, teen years for me. Like, very much so. And the romanticizing that we did of our life at that time. Speaking like me, my sister, my brother, we acted like we were in an indie movie, basically. It was... And we found so much joy in such a dark time. It was so weird how much laughter we had and fun, even though things were bad, really. Like, we were dirt poor, nearly homeless a couple of times in there, lots of vices and just not good stuff. And I mean, I've definitely evolved a lot and grown from that time. And I think it's made me a very resilient, kind of stronger person. And also a very appreciative person, because I can appreciate the good in life and things improving and getting better and being more stable and all that. And I can remember what it was like to have nothing. And remember how rough things can be. And not just materially. Like, I don't mean just like about, you know, that side of things, how rough it can be being poor. I mean, like, girl, you know, losing family members and like losing our mom and all of that. It was a real dark time for us. And I don't know, we found weird level of joy. And I don't know if I just look back on it with maybe a little bit of like some rose colored glasses there and try to remember just the good parts. But there was a lot of good within that terribleness. A lot of character building good and a lot of bond strengthening and strengthening of like family ties and that kind of thing at the time, because we relied on each other so heavily and needed one another. And I know this palette reminds me of that time because it's when it came out. It makes me really grateful and appreciative of the life I have. But the palette, what I'm getting at, it reminds me of like those not so bad moments within a darker time, you know? You gotta find joy where you can. Okay. I am loving the way this look is turned out. So nice. I'm gonna take a little bit more naked. Come around this edge here and buff that out some. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so pretty. And yeah, this palette actually has a very much a good place within modern makeup, within the current trends and how we are doing makeup these days. This palette makes perfect sense. It really does fit the sensibilities of this era of a little bit more restrained makeup looks and more natural, neutral looks and a little bit more cool tone and just kind of the more chill vibe that has came in with beauty. And this palette fits that so perfectly. This was the perfect time to bring this back, Urban Decay. I think you were very smart to have done that. I'm doing a little eyeliner just at the upper lash line here. And for that, we're gonna use Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Liner in Demolition. Their liners have always been my favorite eyeliners. Like, I know drugstore liners are good. There's plenty of good ones at the drugstore, but something about these 24/7 Glide On liners, they hit different. They hit different. I will rave about tons of drugstore eyeliners, and I think there's some that are basically the same thing, but there's just something about the Urban Decay one, though. She hits just a little different, okay? I think maybe it's just a personal bias or nostalgia or something, but I said what I said. I'm taking some of this right here. But I remember Urban Decay, like growing up, seeing them. I remember seeing a display for them like at Dillard's or something when I was a kid, or not a kid, but fairly young, and being like, ooh, that's cool. I think they had like nail polishes and stuff, and I just remember thinking, oh, they're so cool. And just being like drawn to that brand. Could not afford it, but I wanted it. All right, takes this in the tight line also. Urban Decay is always one of those brands where they stay on my radar. It's never a brand that I have thought about. Like, I have always like, ooh, what they got? What's new? I've never like forgotten about them. There are brands that have come and gone in my peripheral or my makeup radar of like what I pay attention to and what I'm interested in. Urban Decay has always been like, well, what you got? What's new? I like to see the new launches. They know how to get me in my nostalgia feels for sure. My member berries. I put a little bit, this one from NYX here, just in the waterline. Brighten her up. I don't think I have any fallout. I'm just gonna give us a little double check. Oh, a little tiny bit. Nothing crazy. All right, we'll go ahead and do the rest of my face. And to keep it in the spirit of Urban Decay, I am going to use the Urban Decay Face Bond today. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'll do my foundation, concealer, bronzer, and we'll be back for like some finishing touches. and lower lash line, all that jazz, and some final thoughts. I'll see you in just a second. Okay, we're back. I went ahead and just did blush, bronzer, highlight, all of that off camera, so we can truly just focus on the palette. But to fill in what is on my face, I used the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm palette for just about everything, and I used a bit of the liquid Lemmy blush from L'Oreal in the shade Worth It. And let's see what else. The Maybelline Fit Me powder on the under eyes, and NYX concealer. NYX corrector concealer, whatever it's called. Fix Stick on the under eyes. And I also put on some mascara on my upper lashes while I was at it here. I used the Maybelline Firework. So, okay, brings you up to speed where we are. Now, lower lash line. Let's go ahead and get that done. I'm gonna go ahead and take my little brush here, and I think we'll use this side, the little smudgy side, and we'll clean it off, and I'm gonna take some of the shade Dark Horse kind of on one side. I'm just gonna like press the one side in and pick it up just there, tap her off, and then come right under here with it, with the side of the shadow facing up. Just add a little bit of smoke right under here. And we're just gonna soften it out with the big side with nothing on it. And now we'll take a little bit of smog. Smog. I don't know why. It sounds funny when I say that, smog. We're gonna put a little bit of that under here. Cool, cool, cool. Liking this. Now we'll do some half-baked. Right. Pretty. Very pretty. I like this look a lot. I think we're done. Wow. This was actually a very easy eye look to do, and there's a very little fallout. Just, it all kind of came together, and it's really pretty and just kind of classic. There's no real downside here. I take a little bit naked just under there. Just to blend things together some. Okay, what a nice classic timeless makeup look we have here. And really this is the kind of makeup I go for the majority of the time, is something like this. And this palette really does speak to modern sensibilities, I think, with makeup and kind of what's trending and what we go for these days. Zhuzhing the hair a little bit. Let's put some lips on while we're at it. I'm gonna line my lips with BFF3 from ColourPop real quick. But the palette really has a place in today's market. Lips, we're gonna do Urban Decay Vice Lipstick in Grunge. No, not Grunge. 1993. Or is it 95? 93. Classic brown lippy. And a favorite. It definitely has its place within the current makeup trends and styles that are predominant at the moment, even though I do think that makeup and trends and all that are very cyclical, and they come back around a lot quicker than they used to be, to where it's almost as if there is no real trend anymore. There is no such thing as out of style or dated, because it's all just existing together now on social media, that there is no distinct style anymore. Like, I know we definitely have moved towards a bit of a softer place with makeup, but there's still so many sub genres of beauty and makeup and styles of doing makeup that are still so prominent within the beauty community, that there doesn't feel like there's just one thing anymore. And it's a very kind of refreshing and nice. I like that, because it feels like a very inclusive community in that way, that you can just do what you want to do and feel cool and be accepted, and everybody loves it, and it's fun. There's a lot of self-expression and joy within the beauty community with that, and there's no real rules and, oh, well, that's not trending, that's out of style. No, that's not even a thing. That's not a thing anymore, I don't think. And people don't really care as much. It's the trends that do pop up and kind of what does reach prominence. It's kind of fun to see because there is always going to be that few things that kind of filter to the top, like the more natural, softer makeup looks and the clean girl aesthetic, stuff like that. And like latte makeup made it pretty high. I feel like those things are just kind of new ways of describing something that's been around forever anyways. Like latte makeup is just a brown smoky eye. Like, it's just rebranding the same stuff over and over. Oh, let's say the original Naked palette definitely fits within the current makeup market and what we are doing with makeup these days as much as it fit in when it launched. It's a very timeless color story, a very classic color story, and I think it was a very smart move to relaunch it and bring it back now because these types of colors really are trending in the softer makeup looks. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Did you get the OG, the original Naked palette? Do you still have it? Let me know. Have you hit pan? I used the poop out of my Naked 2 palette for sure. That was like my date night makeup, everyday makeup. That was my go-to palette for a minute there because that was like the only high-end palette I had. And I just thought I was so fancy with it. And man, if I had gotten my hands on this one, I would have felt the same way too. But I'm very tickled to have this palette in my possession, in my collection, and it feels really good. It's a nice hit of nostalgia with this and warm fuzzy feelings, and the quality is definitely high performance, very easy to use, very user-friendly palette. This is truly a good palette for beginners and people who maybe want a little bit of a softer makeup look with a little bit of smokiness for special occasions. This is a good palette. It's a good staple palette, and I think that's what it was for so many people through the years. It was the one palette that a lot of people had that was their go-to. I know a lot of my friends that did have it hit pan on like half the shades in it that were their everyday colors. It's just one of those palettes. It just truly is a classic, and I think it is a wonderful move for them to have brought it back. So anyway, thank you for hanging out today. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe. Bye now.